Welcome to Turkish TV series. Today we have a special delivery, and I've owed you this one for a while. Because if there is one genre that defines the best Turkey has given to world television, it is exactly this one: action and suspense. Not the filler, not the endless family arguments. I'm talking about series with gunfights, betrayals, double identities, and endings that leave your heart in your throat at 2 in the morning. So get ready, because today I bring you the 10 best. And if you want more lists like this, you already know what to do. Subscribe and hit like. Number 15, 50 square meters. The truth is, this one surprised me, because I went in with low expectations and came out wishing there was more. 50 square meters is the story of Golj, which means shadow in Turkish, and the name fits him perfectly. This man has spent his entire life doing the dirty work for Servet, the powerful man who raised him from childhood. He doesn't remember anything about his past, doesn't know who his parents are, has no identity of his own. He only knows how to follow orders. But the day he discovers a dark truth about the man he considers his only father, something breaks. He betrays him, flees, and ends up hiding in a 50 square meter tailor shop in the humble neighborhood of Güzels in Istanbul. The neighbors think he is Adem, the recently deceased tailor's son. And Golj, instead of correcting them, decides to be that person. A professional hitman playing neighborhood resident, learning to live for the first time in his life while the man who wants him dead searches for him all across the city. Engin Öztürk carries the entire production on his shoulders with an ease very few actors manage. The blend of real thriller with completely natural moments of dark comedy makes no 2 episodes feel alike. 8 episodes short, intense, no filler, and although you end up wanting much more than the screen can give you, what exists is enough to leave you thinking for several days. A small gem hidden on Netflix that you have no excuse not to watch this weekend. Number 14, Smuggled Love. Here is where things get interesting. This production kicks off as a high-voltage organized crime thriller and has you completely hooked from the very first episode. Smuggled Love follows Omer, an organized crime detective who on the day of his engagement trip discovers the bodies of his fiancée and the father of a stranger at the bottom of a cliff ruled a double suicide. Omer knows that is not true, and while investigating, he clashes with Elif, a jewelry designer who that same day arrives from Rome for her father's funeral and discovers that the man she considered honest was actually the money launderer for the most dangerous mafia in the city. 2 completely different people, broken by the same crime, tied together by $2 billion in stolen diamonds that nobody knows the location of. Engin Akyurek won Best Actor at the 2015 Seoul International Drama Awards for his work here, and Tuba Büyüküstün took home 5 awards that same season. The couple's chemistry led to the series being sold in 107 countries. It starts as a pure thriller, and in the second season shifts more toward romance, with plot twists that become somewhat repetitive, but the heart of the story, 2 people moving forward together through the darkness, searching for the truth, sustains everything else with a force very few productions can match. Number 13, The Silent Ones. Pay close attention to this one because The Silent Ones has an 8.3 on IMDb and thousands of people saying it is one of the best they have ever seen, and yet many people still don't know it exists. The story starts in childhood. 4 inseparable friends from a poor Istanbul neighborhood make a mistake as children, a mistake that does not match the severity of the punishment they receive. They are sent to a reform school where they suffer through a hell that nobody talks about. Years later, those 4 boys are 4 completely different men. One is a respectable lawyer, another lives on the edge of the law, and the others carry the secret in silence. And one night, life brings them back together and gives them the chance to make those who stole their childhood pay. Murat Yildirim, in the role of Ecevit, the lawyer who has the most to lose, delivers a contained and deep performance that stays with you. The story is based on the book Sleepers by Lorenzo Carcaterra, the same one that inspired the Brad Pitt film from the 90s, although Show TV had the intelligence not to simply adapt it, but to build something of their own. 28 episodes that go by quickly because the story pulls you from the first minute, with a stretch in the second season that takes time to recover its rhythm before arriving at an ending that stays with you. The ending of this story will leave you speechless. Number 12, Ariza, The Obstacle. Nobody is talking about this, but Ariza the Obstacle is one of those productions that has you hooked within the first 10 minutes without any way back. Ali Riza is a taxi driver. Simple man, family first, zero criminal ambitions. One day, through the rearview mirror, he watches someone try to kidnap a woman, and instead of driving on, he gets out and fights. That act of courage drags him straight into the eye of the storm because that woman is Halide, daughter of crime boss Hazmet Gurkan, the man who controls the most feared criminal syndicate in Istanbul. Within hours, Ali Riza becomes a legend in that world, and when someone becomes a legend in that world, they can never be the same person again. The streets come looking for him, crime pursues him, and love complicates everything. Tolga Sarritas has that physical presence and that dangerous calm that makes you completely believe in his character, and the chemistry with Eka Asin Turan as Halide generated entire communities on social media. 30 episodes that start explosively and repeat some conflicts more than ideal in the middle stretch, but with a clean and satisfying ending. As action entertainment with heart, this production delivers without question. Number 11. The Family. I don't dare start it because I know the moment I do I can't stop, and it's already happened to me twice. The Family is the Turkish remake of The Sopranos, produced by Ayapim in 2023 with an intelligence that deserves recognition. Aslan Soykan runs the most feared criminal family in Istanbul with an iron fist, hard, calculating, with no apparent compassion. But inside, he carries a father who took his own life, leaving him both an empire and a wound that never healed, a mother who governs the family table with more authority than any weapon in the world, and psychological problems he never addressed because a man like him does not go to therapy, or so he thought, until on a flight he meets Devon, a psychologist carrying her own scars. What starts as an obsession becomes a relationship that puts the stability of the entire criminal structure he controls at risk. Kıvanç Tatlıtuğ and Serenay Sarıkaya won Best Television Couple at the 2023 Golden Butterfly Awards. The family dynamic, with a matriarch who can destroy you with a single look, is hypnotic. The second season has episodes where secondary conflicts become somewhat circular before recovering, but the final closing is up to the level of everything built before it. Whoever started it, finished it. That does not lie. Number 10. The Oath. Unfortunately, I have to inform you that this series has already ended, because when I discovered it, I wanted it to last much longer. The Oath follows Yavuz Karasu, a lieutenant in the Turkish Special Forces, who is days away from getting married when a terrorist attack in Istanbul takes his fiancée from him right before his eyes. In that same attack, a doctor named Bahar, who was not a surgeon but could not stay still, tries to save her without succeeding. Haunted by that memory, Bahar travels to Yavuz's hometown to return a personal item she found among the ruins. And that is how a story of pain, redemption, and war begins that spans 3 seasons and 84 episodes of military operations, international terrorism, and a love that grows between two people marked by the same tragedy. Tolga Sarritas as Yavuz needs no words to communicate everything his character carries, and the relationship he builds with Bahar is one of the most well-developed in the genre. The series won Best Military Series in its first year. The finale sacrifices a beloved character at a moment nobody expects, and I know there are people who still have not fully processed it. I will not spoil it for you. I will only tell you to prepare emotionally, because that final hour of television is one you will not forget. Number 9. Poyraz Karayel. Watch out for this production because it is exactly the kind of series that slips under the radar and then suddenly 120 people are recommending it to you at the same time. Poyraz Karayel is a former detective who lost everything: his job, his reputation, custody of his son Sinan. He was accused of something he did not do and sent to prison. When he gets out, the only thing he wants is to get his child back. And to do that, his former boss offers him a deal: infiltrate the most powerful criminal family in Istanbul, led by crime boss Bahri Uman, and bring the organization down from the inside. Simple enough, right? Except that along the way, he falls in love with Ezel, the doctor connected to the family he is supposed to destroy. And his son Sinan ends up getting attached to the very people his father came to infiltrate. What sets Poyraz Karayel apart from other infiltration series is its unique ability to blend intense action with completely natural comedy. built on brilliant dialogue that very few Turkish productions have sustained for 82 episodes. With an 8.2 on IMDb from thousands of votes, I am not the only one who thinks so. The third season works with less budget, and it shows. But the complete journey, father and son growing up together in the middle of the chaos, is worth every minute. I finished it in 3 days. Now you know. Number 8. Shadow Team. I personally stopped watching it for a while because I thought it was just another run-of-the-mill patriotic series, and I made a mistake that took me too long to correct. Shadow Team follows the operations of Turkey's National Intelligence Organization, an elite group of agents who each season face a different threat, from local terrorism to conspiracies involving international powers, undercover missions, espionage plots, global pursuits, and action sequences that compete with any high-budget international production. The level of production that TRT poured into this project genuinely surprises. Locations, visual effects, choreographed action that is hard to believe is weekly Turkish television. Kagler Ertugrul won the Golden Butterfly for Best Actor in the first season, and the production was recognized as Best Action and Espionage Series of the Year on multiple occasions. The cast rotation between some seasons can frustrate viewers who had already grown attached to certain characters, and some season premieres start slower than others. But the fact that since 2021 it has aired over 160 episodes with sustained ratings says everything. That cannot be faked. Number 7. Ramo. This one hurt my soul because Ramo is possibly the most underrated action series of recent years. Inspired by real events, the story follows Ramo, the natural leader of his neighborhood in Adana, who has spent years doing the dirty work for Cengiz, the crime boss who controls the criminal world of the region. Ramo puts in the body, Cengiz takes the money. Ramo puts in the loyalty, Cengiz takes the power. That unwritten contract works until one day Ramo decides enough is enough, that his family deserves more than the scraps thrown to dogs, and from that moment, a war begins that nobody expected, one that puts him against his boss, against Istanbul, against the entire system. And in the middle of all that appears Sibel, the daughter of the man he wants to bring down, the only woman Ramo will ever love. Murat Yildirim as Ramo has that contained energy and that presence that make you believe every scene, and Ezra Bilgic as Sybil is absolutely magnetic. The first season, set in Adana with all its unique and particular identity, has an action pace among the best the genre has produced. The second season moves the story to Istanbul and loses some of that original essence. It feels different and not always better. But 40 episodes of crime, loyalty, betrayal, and love that will hardly disappoint you. Number 6. Karadayi. I won't lie to you, this one hit me hard from the very first episode. Istanbul, 1973. Mahir Kara is a young, honest shoemaker with a family that means everything to him. On the day of his engagement, his father Nazif is accused of murdering the city's attorney general and faces execution. Mahir knows his father is innocent. And to save him, he does the most audacious thing a man without resources can do. He invents an identity, poses as a lawyer, and gets close to Judge Faride, the only person with the power to change his father's fate. What he didn't calculate was falling in love with her, nor that she would fall in love with him, without either of them knowing that Mahir's father is the man Faride has to judge. Hanan Emirzialiglu and Poyraz Karayel won Best Actor and Best Actress at the 2013 Golden Butterfly Awards. The Istanbul of the 1970s, built with almost cinematic meticulousness, along with a soundtrack by Toygar Ezikli that stays with you for weeks, is a spectacle in itself. 115 episodes, with a second season that stretches some arcs more than the story needs before recovering intensity. But the heart of this story, a son fighting for his father's life while torn between duty and love, has a narrative force very few series reach. One of the greats, without question. Number 5. The Pit. Listen to me very carefully. The Pit is the kind of series you never want to end, and when it does, it leaves a void that is hard to explain. The story begins with the Kocavalli family, who rules with an iron fist the most dangerous neighborhood in Istanbul, the Kukur. They have their own rules, and the most sacred is that no drugs enter the Kukur. Ever. But when an ambitious man named Vartolu wants to break that rule and attack the family to force his way in, the balance collapses. Yamak, the youngest son who had fled that world to live as a musician and chemist far from crime, has to go back. And when Yamak returns to the pit does not let him go. Because the Kukur is not just a neighborhood, it is an identity. And from identity, there is no escape. Aras Bulut Aynamli as Yamak is the reason so many people go in and cannot get out. 4 seasons, 131 episodes, and the production stays intense from beginning to end. The 3rd season loses focus in certain arcs that extend more than the story needs, and I myself had to pause and come back. But that 4th season finale breaks your soul in a way very few series manage. If you stick with it, what comes is absolutely worth everything. Number 4, Valley of the Wolves. I think we all know the caliber of this franchise. Valley of the Wolves is not just a series. It is the television phenomenon that forever changed the history of Turkish television. When this production aired in 2003, the streets of Turkey emptied every Thursday night. The story follows Ali Kandin, an intelligence agent who adopts the identity of Polat Alemdar to infiltrate the heart of the country's most powerful mafia, the Council, a structure that controls much of Turkey's underground economy. As he rises within that criminal structure, he discovers the connections between organized crime, politics, and the deep state. What it exposes is so uncomfortable that the series was censored on multiple occasions, received over 13,000 complaints to the media regulator, and generated real diplomatic controversies. The first 2 seasons are first-class television that shook the Turkish cultural landscape like nothing before. The last 2 seasons do not fully maintain the narrative pulse of the first, and some arcs feel repetitive. But as a window into the political soul of Turkey in the 2000s, nothing comes close. 200 million people around the world watched it. They cannot all be wrong. Number 3, Undercover. What a shame that many people sleep on this production, because Undercover is one of the best executed action series Turkey has produced. Inspired by Scorsese's The Departed, the story revolves around 2 brothers separated as children. Sarp, the top graduate of his police class, sent to infiltrate the most dangerous mafia in Istanbul, led by the powerful Salal Baba. And Mert, the brother everyone thought was dead, who grew up inside that same criminal world without knowing who he truly is. When both of their paths cross, neither knows he has his own brother standing in front of him. One on the side of the law, the other on the side of crime. The tension that dynamic generates across 39 episodes is something very few productions manage to sustain. Hagate Ulusoy and Aras Bulut Aynamli steal every scene together with a chemistry built on distrust and hatred that operates on another level entirely. Episode 2 was a global trending topic on Twitter for hours. In the final episodes, some twists feel rushed, and the secondary romances do not receive the space they deserve compared to the main story. But 39 episodes without filler, without drag, executed with that precision, are a rarity in the genre. I finished it in 4 days and wanted more. Number 2, Ezel. You know what the worst part is? That this series is not at number 1, and people are going to call me out for it in the comments, and I understand them. Ezel is the Turkish adaptation of The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas, brought to the modern streets of Istanbul with a mastery that leaves you speechless. Omer is a young mechanic who has everything: his family, his friends, the woman he loves. But those friends and that woman betray him in the most brutal way possible. They frame him for a crime he did not commit and send him to prison for 10 years. There, in the darkness, Omer finds Ramiz, an old crime boss who becomes his mentor, and when he leaves that prison, he is no longer Omer. He is Ezel, a man with a new face, a new name, and one single goal in life: revenge. Kenan İmirzalıoğlu is simply magnetic. Every gesture, every silence, every calculated look is first-class acting. He won 9 awards at the 2010 İsmail Sem Television Awards, including Best Drama, Best Actor, and Best Original Script. The music by Toygar İzikli haunts you for weeks after finishing. The ending of the 2nd season is so ambiguous that people still debate what actually happened. That is the only debt it has with its audience. Everything else is a masterpiece. 71 episodes that feel like a high-caliber novel, the gold standard of Turkish suspense. Number 1, The Circle. Listen to me very carefully, because this is the only time in a 10-series list that I put something with just 11 episodes at number 1. and I do it without hesitation. The Circle takes its name from a criminal organization that has operated from within the heart of the Turkish state for decades. A structure of power so deep and so old that when one of its own members becomes too dangerous, the Circle eliminates him without leaving a trace. 25 years ago, they eliminated a crime boss named Karadayi and stole his newborn child. Today, two completely different men, Khan, a homicide detective, and Cihangir, a dangerous criminal, discover that their lives have been manipulated since that moment by that same organization. One of them is the stolen child, but neither knows which one, and together they decide to go to war against the darkest power they have ever faced. With an 8.7 on IMDb for a series of only 11 episodes, the script is so precise it puts to shame productions with 10 times as many episodes. Every plot twist is built with a narrative intelligence rarely seen in Turkish television. There was never a second season, and that hurts deeply because the ending leaves the story open at a point that leaves your chest tight. But that is also part of the experience. In those 11 hours of television, The Circle delivers more suspense, more depth, and more emotional impact than most series with 100 episodes. 200 million people cannot be wrong. The ending of this story will leave you speechless. And with that, we close the top 10 action and suspense list. And let me tell you that putting this list together was difficult, because each one of these productions left me something. A scene, a line, a character that does not leave your head. If there is one you are still missing, that is the plan for this week. Start it. Turkish action and suspense has a level that very few countries in the world can match. And if you want more top lists, more genres, and more recommendations, you know where to find us. See you in the next video.